Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut to give him, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach, like Yahushai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach, like Yahushai. The hardy, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men that are Most High God, who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing His truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their body as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing His truth, magnifying the ministry. The men that may not be out there in the highways and byways, but they're getting built up in the spirit. They're studying, they're praying, they're fasting. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverent to their husbands, being submissive and diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to the ancient men and children and those of our nation that are scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom, shalom. And last but not least, everybody tuning in live, Nigel Blends, HBK Ent, Salome Williams. We got Next Israel, Zabadia Banyamyan, Richard Perez, HBK Ent. Again, Matt Jones, Elijah Jones, Don Israel, Salt of the Earth, Joshua Brewer, Shalom King, The Art of Today, From Egypt to Israel, Juan Figueroa, Salaki if I butchered the name, Jadis Delphius, and everybody else tuning in that will tune in, right? Scriptural breakdowns, the book shall be opened, and Q&A, right? So Spirit is on me to go into various breakdowns, various scriptures, right? Various accounts in the Bible and go through them and break them down. I will take some time to do a slight Q&A, but then I want to go into it and give the proper understanding, because when you go to, let's actually pull this up, right? So like, I want to pull this up in a book. I want to open up the Apocrypha, right? Let's open up the Apocrypha. We're going to go to the book of 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, right? Now, part of the title of this lesson is the book shall be opened. Now, that's an excerpt, right, from the book of 2nd Ezra. So let's open up 2nd Ezra. Shalakia. All right, let's open up 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, and we'll go to verse 20. Actually, I'll start at 8. I'll start at 17. Right? 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and 17. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood up upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the voice of it was like the sound of many waters. Now that voice is Yahushai's voice, similar to Revelation chapter 1:14 on down, right? That voice of many waters is none other than our Lord, right? Hamashiach Yahushai. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, right? So the Lord is going to visit the earth. Now the Most High is going to visit the earth by His plagues, by His judgments, by natural disaster and hurricanes and landslides and mudslides and wildfires. The Most High is also visiting the earth by destroying and crippling economies, by putting nation against nation, by stirring up adversaries globally, right? This is how the Most High is visiting and judging the earth, right? And will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. So the Most High is going to make inquisition of them, right? What they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness. But the Most High is going to search out the works of the other nations, right? Things that you think are being done in secret, the Most High is going to inquire of it. He's going to search it out and bring it to light. Secret councils, secret ceremonies, strange rites, children's sacrifice, hidden agendas, crafty councils, social engineering, eugenics, the whole nine of witchcraft and sorcery. The Most High is going to bring all that to light. He's making inquisition by sending the angels, right? I want to go to this word inquisition, right? What is the definition of an inquisition? See that? An inquisition, a period of prolonged and intensive questioning. Hold on. or investigation, right? That's what it means. An interrogation, questioning, a judicial or official inquiry. And I actually want to go deeper into it, and I want to go to the etymology of it, right? Let's actually pull this up, because the Most High, he deals with an inquisition. See that? Judicial investigation, right? A judicial. Now, who's the judge? Yahweh. Bashim Yahushua. So when you make inquisition, a judge goes and inquires about what's going on, right? What's going on regarding a particular court case, right? So they may bang that gavel and ask a few questions. So that's making an inquisition. They may ask the questions to the lawyer. It may not be a lawyer present. They may be asking the defendant particular questions. So inquisition is in fact a legal term, right? Now the Most High is going to make a judicial investigation regarding those who have transgressed the law, right? That's what it means when it says, and I will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness. Meaning those who have sinned, who have harmed the saints, the children of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, by sin. So the sins of the nations are going to be brought out, and the Lord is inquiring of them. Okay, act or process of inquiring, from Old French inquisition, inquiry, investigation. From Latin, inquisitionem, right? We know the majority of your Romantic languages, your English, French, Italian, Spanish, German, those are your Romantic languages. They all come from Latin, right? It says searching into. That's what the Most High, he'll search out your counsels. That's all throughout the Bible, right? A seeking, here's what we want: legal examination, a seeking of grounds for accusation. You see that? So that's what the Most High is doing. He's doing a legal examination. He's going to weigh these nations, their works that they have done according to the law. The Most High has things that are unjust in his eyes. And once he sends the angels down, because that's who's making an inquisition. This investigation that's being done by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is in fact being done by death angels. And it's being done as we speak. Because they're going to bring this report back to the Most High, so the Most High can accuse them and judge them according to their wickedness. Right? This is the same thing in Genesis, the 19th chapter. Right? Let's go into this. This is the book of Genesis, actually, chapter 18. Right? This is Genesis chapter 18 and 1. And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. Right? This is Yahweh Shai and two angels that appeared unto Abraham. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground. Now let's jump down. These 3 men are actual spirits from the third heaven. One being Hamashiach Yahushua, the other 2 are angels that are sent for inquisition, to inquire, investigate. They call it recon now. All right. So in a military aspect, it's a recon. From a judicial aspect, it's an inquisition. Now I'm going to jump down. This is Genesis chapter 18 and verse 20. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done according, so like it all together according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. So that's the inquisition. The Lord sending the angels down to see if it's as wicked as as Lot said. Because Lot was crying out to the Most High about what he saw and what he heard in Sodom. Right? When you go to let's pull up another blue letter. Real quick, let's go to 2 Peter. Right? 2 Peter chapter 2 and 7. Right? Quick precept on that. So the Most High is going to make an inquisition on the world. 2 Peter 2 and 7. and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, because Lot was hearing things, abominable things, right? He was seeing things, smelling things. For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So Lot was complaining to the Most High. He was vexed, man. Lord, destroy this place. Lord, deliver me. So the Lord got word of that. And he said, all right, I'm going to come down there, right, and see how wicked it is. Because you're there. You pitched your tent towards Sodom. Now you're living in Sodom. Let's really see how wicked this thing is. But first, our first mission is to talk to Abraham. But now, after he was done delivering a message unto Abraham, the second part of the mission, he explained it. I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which has come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. So these are the two angels who went to make inquisition in Sodom, a legal investigation. Right? They had a pretty much what they call like a warrant now. You know, when you got a warrant, now I'm not a lawyer, right? I'm not a detective, right? So if that's the wrong term, that's the wrong term, right? But it's pretty much they could just go in your house and just investigate, man. Right? And flip over into the couch. When you got a warrant out, they can go and go through all your stuff, man. They got a right to search your stuff. Esau don't even need a warrant, man. He got all types of stuff going on and weird, bugged out, wicked laws. So they went to Sodom, man, to kind of investigate to see what's going on. Now, when you go to Genesis, the 19th chapter, right? This is Genesis chapter 19:1. And there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. So Lot knew that these were angels, right? Every man does not have that spirit to recognize that that person is an angel that they're talking to or dealing with or entertaining, right? See, our forefathers were on a higher level. They were able to say, no, that ain't no regular man. That's an angel right there. Because these angels actually look like men, but Lot was on a high level. His discernment was at an all-time high, like a lot of our forefathers, to discern between the righteous and the wicked, right? But between the holy celestial spirits and demonic dark spirits. Man, right now, you have a hard time trying to figure this thing out. Is that a homeless person or is that an angel, right? But Lot rose up to meet them, and he said, behold, now my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you should rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, no. Listen to what the angel said. Lot said, don't be out all night. I know how it gets down. Come inside, wash your feet. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. So you can have spirits out in the street all night, man. Seeing how wicked this thing is. Now, every person you see out there in the nighttime is out there to commit evil. And it may be angels out there recording what's being done, making inquisition, and bringing that report back to the Most High, conducting a legal investigation. All night, investigating. Yeah, that is wicked. Yeah, that person, yeah, that's an abominable thing. Wow, did you see that going on over there? Right? You might see people drunk at the club. You might see people just roaming the streets at night, kind of bugged out, right, staggering like a drunken man. Then you might have regular people kind of just walking. But their job, see, certain spirits, their job is to kind of blend in with society. They put on a disguise and they look like men, right? You might bump into them and they feel like men. You might see them have eyes and ears and a mouth, but their job is to conduct a legal investigation on behalf of Yahweh, Basham Yahushua. That's what this word in legal investigation, and seeking a grounds for accusation. You see that? Because they were sent out there really to see how wicked it was. And if it was that wicked, they was going to bring it to the Most High, and the Most High was going to give them the green light to destroy it. That's how this inquisition actually went, right? And I'm going to actually jump down. Now, when you read this whole account, which I'm not going to read, you have the men that actually pressed upon Lot to break into the house and try to violate him. Man, we'll just put it like that. Tried to violate Lot. Right now, I want to jump down and see what the angel said. Let's see. Now this was an inquisition going bad, right? Because they were sent to, when you read this account, they were sent for an inquisition, but things went left, right? Things went left real fast. They said, look, there's no more time to inquire. This is evil, right? Now check this out. Verse 12. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons and thy daughters? And whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because of the cry of them is waxing great before the face of Yahweh, and Yahweh hath sent us to destroy it. See that? So they were sent out to see how wicked it was, and they were given it, the Most High gave them the green light. If it's extremely wicked, destroy it, but deliver Lot. That was their mission. That was part of their investigation. Seize Lot, get Lot out of there if you find out that it's as wicked as they say it is. And the Most High is doing the same thing now. He said, and will begin to make inquisition of them. So the Lord has those spirits out on the earth right now. Right? That's why in Luke chapter 19, it says, as in the days of Lot. Right? I believe that's Luke chapter 19. As in the days of Lot. Let's see. Bear with me. Luke 17, if I'm let's pull this. Luke 17, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, this is St. Luke chapter 17, and I'm gonna start at verse 28. Right? So the same thing that happened during the days of Lot are happening all over again. Right? Like, and not just the Sodom freaked out part of it, the inquisition, the judgment, the Most High bringing up a report, right, to accuse that land and destroy them. Right? It reads, likewise also, as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. That's what they're doing now. Their weddings, their concerts, ceremonies, they're turning up. The NBA playoffs are here. People are going to the concession stand. They're buying 2 hot dogs and a Coors Light, and people are eating and drinking. They're buying houses. They're buying businesses. They're buying Forex and cryptocurrency, and people are thinking that they're coming up. They're selling. People are selling houses. People are selling material goods and clothes, and they have designs and businesses. They plant it. They build it. Right? There are construction sites everywhere you go on the highway, man. They're building roads. They're building skyscrapers. They're building condominiums. They're gentrifying neighborhoods. Everybody's oblivious to what the Most High is going to do on the earth. But yet they're living their life as if nothing's going to happen. They're eating, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built it. But what was going on during this time? There was an inquisition going on. There was an investigation going on behalf of Yahweh Bashmi Abushai, conducted by 2 death angels while they're drinking, while they're buying, while they're selling Salakia, and while they're planting. Right? So you don't think that there are angels going to and fro right now in the earth, roaming Babylon the Great, bringing up that report to the Most High? That's why in Revelation chapter 18, it says her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Because those spirits are on the earth right now. It could very well be those same 2 death angels from the time of Lot. It may be even more spirits, because you have more men crying out to the Most High. This is the biggest legal investigation. They talk about, oh, he got RICO charges, or okay, this person, they might do 25 to life, and it's not going to top this. Right? Let me read this again. And will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and with the affliction of Zion, shall be fulfilled. And our affliction is being fulfilled. There's a time limit for our punishment. We're not going to be in captivity forever. Right? We're not going to be in Babylon the Great forever. There's not another captivity after this. Just like any father punishes their child, it's not eternity. No father says, go to your room for eternity. No mother says, go get a belt, a switch, a whip, whatever, and I'm gonna whoop you for eternity. There's a set time, right? And maybe 2 months, okay, maybe a week, maybe it's that weekend. But after it's fulfilled, and you have that liberty again. Right? Let's go to the book of Lamentations. Right? Let's go to Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 21, about our affliction being fulfilled. It reads, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee, thou shalt be drunken, and shall make thyself naked. So the Most High is telling Esau, laugh it up now, but you're going to get your judgment. The cup of judgment, right, is going to pass through until you have to drink this too. You're going to be drunk and you're going to make your own self naked and expose yourself through your media, right, through your industry, and through your wicked works to show that you really are the devil according to the Most High, right? The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. You see that? Our punishment is accomplished. It's over with. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So our affliction is going to be fulfilled. Our punishment is going to be accomplished. There's another count in Isaiah. It says the warfare of our people is finished. Right? This Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 1. Comfort ye, my people, saith your God. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry to her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of the Lord's hand double for all her sins. So in Isaiah, right, we read in another count, right, Lamentations, that our affliction is fulfilled. Our punishment will be up. And that's happening right now. Right? You're in the tail end. Like if you served the prison sentence for 7 years and you at your 6th year, but you got about 30 days to go, right? That's the timeline we in. Right? We're in the timeline of our affliction pretty much being over with. Now the Most High is going to judge these other nations. Right? And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. And the world is beginning to vanish away. I mean, you can tell, man. You can look at the people that these generations are waxing worse and worse. The music is getting worse and worse. People's minds and judgments are getting worse and worse. The food is getting worse and worse. The air, the water, right? Everything's vanishing away. Things are getting weaker, older, more wicked. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. What are token signs? Right? Particular things that the Most High said will happen. Right? He's going to show you certain tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. Now, the books being open are the books of the Bible. Right? The word Bible just means a collection of books. All right? Biblia or biblios in the Greek. Right? It means a collection of books. Those are the books being opened. The book of Genesis, the book of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, right? Judges, Ruth. These are these books, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, etc. They're being opened. And the saints are watching these things, right? So that's why we're going into these scriptural breakdowns, because now the books are being opened, right? The understanding of the scriptures has been revealed, right? The Lord said the secret things belonging to the Lord our God, right? Let's actually get that. Deuteronomy chapter 29 and 29. The secret things belonging to the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belonging to us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. So there are certain things that strictly belong to the Most High. There are secret things that only the Lord knows. But then you have things that are revealed. Those things that are revealed belonging to the saints, right? They belong to Yashala, right? And our children forever, not to be proud and not to be disobedient, but that you may observe to do all the words of this law, right? So let's see if we could dive into a few questions. All right, let's dive into a few. Let's see what we got. All right, first question, HPKN. Can you put your wife away for withholding sex for manipulation? Or should I just get a concubine? No, you can't put away your wife for withholding sex, right? Right? You can't put away your wife. The only way that you could put away, and I may go to rapid fire on a lot of these questions. I may not. It all depends on the question. It depends on the spirit, right? When I say rapid fire, I may not bring out 7 precepts each question, right? Some of them may be straight to the point. Some may not. Some may inquire definitions, dates, maps, etc. Right? But can you put away your wife for withholding sex? Right? Let's actually dive right into that. Right? Let's go to the book of Matthew. Right? There's only one way a man can put away his wife. There's only one way a man can put away his wife. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 31. It hath been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. Now, when it says it had been said, Salakia, when it says it had been said, it's speaking about the law, right? When it says whosoever shall put away his wife, let her give him a writing of divorcement, that's speaking about the time of Moses, right? Deuteronomy, the 24th chapter says, hey, you can put away your wife for any cause. You can put away your wife if she burned the unleavened bread. You can put away your wife if her dress didn't tickle your fancy, for lack of better terms. You can put away your wife if you didn't like her head wrap, right? Those things were permissible and acceptable, right? Let's get that in Deuteronomy 24, right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 24 and verse 1. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. Now, this was the topic in the ancient world of debate, and to some brothers, it's still a heavy topic, right? And the topic is not the fact of putting away your wife. The topic in the ancient world, and I'm gonna still deal with the brother question, but like I said, these are scriptural breakdowns. So, some of these questions, we're going to actually dive deep into them and go into these scriptures and break them down. All right. And kind of see what's going on with these things. Now, it says, when a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes. Now, finding favor in his eyes, meaning this woman no longer pleases him. She does not satisfy him anymore. It can be her looks. It can be her behavior. It can be her attire. It can be her laugh. Right? This is how things were done in the ancient world. Now you can say, well, that's wrong. That's insensitive. Well, look, in the ancient world, this was normal. Right now we have a Western mind. And our Western mind tells us that's wrong. That's sexist. That's gender conflict. Whatever effeminate term that they use nowadays, man, because they don't have an ancient mind. Remember, when you read this Bible, especially when you read the law, you have to put on your ancient mind. And the Lord said, behold, thy brothers that come from the east, right? Let me get that in 2nd Ezra chapter 1, because a lot of brothers, you start reading certain things. Okay, a woman get her hand chopped off if she grab you by the stones, or you can take this guy and beat him with rods, and you're getting all bent out of shape, man. You're getting all offended. Right? This second Ezra, chapter 1 and 38. And now behold, what glory, and see the people that cometh from the east. They say that come from the west, the north, or the south. Right? Our people are from the east, which means how we thought was different. Right? That's the whole point. So when we saw this in the ancient world, I mean, it was normal. No favor in his eyes, fine. Right? Why? Because he had found some uncleanness in her. Now, this uncleanness, it's not talking about a woman or her flower, right? Because that's normal. This uncleanness is speaking about whatever this man decides as dissatisfactory or unsavory or unpleasant in his eyes, right? Now, during the time of the apostles, there was a reason why this question was asked. They asked this question. I'm going to actually get this account in Matthew 19. He asked this question to Yahweh Shah for a reason. A lot of questions they asked him were to tempt him, right? And to see if he was going to go with the status quo. This St. Matthew chapter 19 and verse 7. They said to him, Salakia, Matthew 19 and 3. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? So they're tempting him. You may say, well, how is that a tempting question? Well, you have to know the history about what was going on. There were two major schools of thoughts during this time, right? You had the school of Shammai, and you had the school of Heliel. And those two ancient thoughts dictated and governed how our forefathers perceived marriage. Let's actually pull this up. Right? See that? There we have a topic. Right? See that? The school of Heliel and the school of Shammai. These were ancient rabbis, masters of the law. Now, quick point, Paul's teacher, remember, Paul was taught by Gamaliel, and Gamaliel came from the school of Heliel. All right, so Paul's understanding of the law would have been that of Heliel. Now, Slaki, let's these two schools of thoughts came from two priests. Now, Shammai, and I actually want to get both of them. This is why the question was asked. This is why it was tempting, because they want to see which way he's going to go. Is he going to side with Shammai? Because then there's a counter argument with Shammai, or is he going to go with Heliel? Because there's a counter argument. So they want to kind of catch him up. But Yahweh Shah is going to break the law down in a way where he's not taking that side or that side. He's going to break it down on a higher level. And Yahweh Shah did that often with these questions, man. It's like he went deeper into it. So here's the history, right? The house of Heliel and Shammai. The house of Heliel, and you can say, well, this is Wikipedia. What does that mean? Well, there's 1,000 other sites that you can confirm and corroborate with as witnesses to justify and verify what we're bringing up right now. The house of Heliel, right? Bayath Heliel. The house of Shammai, Bayat or Bayath Shammai, were among Jewish. They say Jewish, but these were Jakes. These were Israelites. Right? Remember, them Amalekites didn't steal the law. Predominantly or chiefly until the Middle Ages, around 800 AD or so. So when it says Jewish, we know that's their way of saying the so-called white man, but it's really the Israelites, our forefathers. And we know that based off of the time period that these men walked the earth. Right? These men were among Jewish scholars. Two schools of thought during the period of Tanaim. Right? Now, the Tanaim were the rabbinic sages whose views are recorded in the Mishnah from 10 AD to 220 AD. So this was around the time of Yahweh Shah. So the debates of the law were heavy around the time of the Lord, man. Talking about divorce, and this is similar to camps now, right? Two schools of thought regarding the Sabbath, right? Some brothers say, okay, it's the lunar Sabbath because when you go to this account and that account, then you got another brother a school of thought, he may perceive things this way, right? So you have these conversations. And I was talking to the brother on a quick side note, and we was in Florida about a few days ago, and I was talking to Yahweh All, and we were discussing particular topics of the scriptures. And he said something, then I said something, then he said something, and he made a good point. And he was like, the conversations that certain men have regarding the law, they should be scribed out and recorded, that brothers could perceive and read, certain brothers' viewpoints and conversation form. Because you got the videos, but having a dialogue to be able to kind of look at, or a conversation to witness between two brothers and their understandings on scriptures, that was something that our forefathers did in the ancient world. And that's what Hillel and Shammai had going on. These were two schools of thoughts during the period of the sages or rabbis, named after the sages Hillel and Shammai of the last century BCE and early in the first century. So they actually was prevalent during the time of the apostles who founded them. These two schools had vigorous debates. See that's your WFI, your Sakari, okay, your IUIC, okay, your ISUPK, okay, your GMS, okay, your LOZ, right? All of these different schools. And some brothers made debate, right? These schools had vigorous debates on matters of ritual practice, ethics, and theology, which were critical for the shaping of the oral law and Judaism as it is today, right? Now I'm gonna jump down, right? So they had debates about what to lie. They had a debate about divorce. Here's what we want. The house of Shammai held that a man may only divorce his wife for a serious transgression, but Hillel allowed divorce even for trivial offenses, such as burning a mill. So when they read Deuteronomy 24, it was an uproar. A group of brothers said, hold on. Deuteronomy 24, when it says, when a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he had found some uncleanness in her. One brother say that uncleanness has to be serious, right? It has to be serious. It has to be something where it's not trivial. It can't be, okay, she burnt the toes. Maybe she put her hands on her husband. Maybe she tried to do something to the children, to kill the children, right? Maybe she tried, there had to be something extreme. That's how those brothers from the house of Shammai thought, right? Because those men, they thought with mercy. In their mind, they say, well, look, a divorce is not the best practice. The union between a man and a wife, according to Genesis, says, let no man put asunder. And if that's the standard, then if he's going to put away his wife, it has to be serious. Then you at the house of Hillel. They say, well, no. It doesn't explicitly say it has to be serious right here. It says any uncleanness. Therefore, if my wife burns the unleavened bread, biblically and legally, I have the right to put her away. And they would clash and go back and forth. And certain Pharisees, certain Sadducees took up those two schools of thought. So they said, well, look, we're going to ask Yahweh Shai, because that was a question that was a heavy debate, literally when the Lord walked the earth. Now, again, when you go to Gamaliel, let's go to, I'll use this tab, right? Let's go to Acts chapter 5, right? This is the book of Acts, chapter 5 and 20. Actually, sorry, I want 36. Okay, let me jump up. Okay, Acts 5 and 33. When they heard that, they were cut to the heart and took counsel to slay them. Right? Talking about the apostles. Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among all the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space. So this man he wasn't a nobody, he was a somebody. He was a big deal. He was a master of the law, a doctor of the law. Not a doctor that deals with this. Doctor is not that guy in that white jacket. Okay, I got my white coat. Took my hypocritical oath, right? Hippocratic oath, whatever it is, man. Who sells you lewd pills in the dark night, right? That's not this doctor of the law. This doctor of the law is a master teacher. The word doctor actually does not mean a heart surgeon. Neither does it mean a physical therapist. This word doctor, it means a teacher, right? Really a top teacher. It goes back to the Latin, if I'm not mistaken, docere, right? And docere is a Latin infinitive, which means to teach. All right. So let's actually pull this up. That's what the word doctrine, if I'm not mistaken, right? What means a church father, right? Doctrine, right? Doctrine means to teach. A doctor is a teacher, right? See that church father. It never meant a damn man with a white coat, man. See, Esau steals all of our titles and all of our identities, man, and makes it his own. Right? From the Latin doctor, meaning religious teacher, advisor, scholar. See that? And classical Latin teacher, agent, now from docere, meaning to show, teach, to cause, to know. Holder of the highest degree in a university. So a doctor, when you get your doctorate, you're in the highest level, your PhD. Right now, your PhD, what does PhD stand for? Right? A doctor of philosophy. Right? That's what it says. A doctor of philosophy. But really, when you meet somebody with their PhD, you have to call them doctor. Right? They could be a doctor of a lawyer. They could be in medicine. Right? They can be in anything. As long as they got their PhD, you're obligated to call them a doctor. Right? Now, when you call them a doctor, anybody with that title, they're the top level of understanding in their craft. Nobody tops that understanding, right? They have surpassed and mastered that knowledge. That's why when you go back to this man was a doctor of the law. He wasn't just an ordinary guy. He was a master teacher. Now, Gamaliel, when we go into him, right? See, they've got the Texas receptors, right? That's a topic for another day. Okay, doctor of the law. Actually, I want to go into this word in the Greek. Okay, doctor of the law. See that? Here's what it means. Nanami daskalos, right? A teacher and interpreter of the law among the Jews. Of those who among the Christians went about as champions and interpreters of the Mosaic law. Right? That's how brothers, should be, man. Right? Brothers should be well versed in the law. You should be a champion of the law. Right? Not just Deuteronomy 28:68. An expounder of the law, a teacher of the law. Now, here's the point I want about Gamaliel, right? And this is ultimately, we're going to tie this brother's question all the way back home. Gamaliel, let's show you something about Gamaliel. Gamaliel, a Pharisee and celebrated doctor of the law, who gave prudent worldly advice in the Sanhedrin respecting the treatment of the followers of Yahushua of Nazareth. We learn from Acts 22:3 that he was the preceptor of Paul. So you got certain brothers, they're preceptors, right? Meaning they actually gave those precepts in the law to Paul, right? So a certain brother might say, look, I'm your preceptor, right? So that brother actually taught you the precepts, that he was the preceptor of the law. Right, see that? The precept. I kind of like that right there, man. You have brothers in the ancient world that are preceptors. He is generally identified with the very celebrated Israelite Dr. Gamaliel, grandson of Hillel, who is referred to as authority in the Jewish mission. So Gamaliel, he came from the school of Hillel. That was his grandson. I mean, his grandfather. So when Gamaliel interpreted Deuteronomy chapter 24 about putting away your wife for every cause, Gamaliel was taught that in Deuteronomy 24, yes, you can put away your wife for anything, even if her dress is green instead of blue. Paul was taught that law. So Paul's interpretation of the law would have been the same as Hillel. All right. Now, this is why that question was tempting, because it was a topic of debate at that time. Now, let's see why you could put away your wife. Because here's the question the brother asked again. Can you put away your wife for withholding sex, for manipulation, or should I just get a concubine? Now, let's find out. We built it up. We went through the history behind that. Now, I actually want to go into it. Matthew chapter 19 and verse 4. He answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? Who made them at the beginning? Yahushua. And said, so the same person, this if you got ears to hear, the same person that made them in the beginning said what? For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Right? Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore the Most High hath joined together, let not man put asunder. So Yahushua told him straight up, no man could put away, separate you from your woman. All right? And you can't just put away your wife for any cause. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and put her away? He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. So what is said is the Most High gave Israel over to their own devices, over into their own lust, until the true teaching came to expound what divorce and marriage is truly about. Hardness of your heart, meaning an unforgiving heart, like the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart for him not to be receptive to the precepts and to the statutes and to the instruction given to him by Moses. He hardened his heart. He refused to let Israel go. Not by any means. Even after the water was turned into blood, even after the frogs, the flies, the lice, the locusts, the boils, etc. Right? He still did not let Israel go because he had a hard heart. Now you had men who had that same spirit and was not forgiving to their wives pleading, and forgiving to their wives, I'm sorry, her salakias, her I didn't mean to, her can you forgive me, her show me clemency, her show me mercy. Men had a hard heart, said no, I'll put you away even though you have burnt the unleavened bread. You may not have done it the first 99 times, but this 100th time, it is enough, be gone. Right, a bill of divorce, right? Put your signet in it, 2 or 3 witnesses, give it to her publicly, and let her go out of your house. Right? Let's get a precept on this. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel. Right? The Lord said, actually, let's do Ezekiel. Right? The 2nd chapter. Ezekiel chapter 2. I believe that's chapter 3, Salakia. Let's actually get a precept on that. Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, actually I'm going to start at 7. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me, for all the house of Israel are impudent and what? And hard-hearted. Let's go into this word, hard-hearted. It's not talking about that organ in your chest that pumps blood throughout your body, right? It's speaking about your mind. Let's go into this word hard-hearted. Hard, cruel. Now that word heart in the Hebrew is lab, meaning mind, right? Now your name, you can say, okay, my name is Naquam, or I could say, okay, Naquam Lab. Okay, I have a mind of vengeance, right? So you add lab to the word, it makes it mind. All right, so that's the word heart, but this is for the word hard. It says hard, cruel, severe, obstinate, hard, difficult, severe, fierce, intense, vehement, stubborn, stiff of neck, stiff-necked, rigorous of battle. So certain men were hard-hearted toward their wives. Right? Let's read that again. St. Matthew chapter 19, right, in verse 8. He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning, it was not so. So man has a man has a stony heart. That's another attribute that man has, right? Man has been created with a stony heart. So man's mind is naturally prone to hold a grudge, to show animosity, to be unforgiving, to be strict, especially towards a weaker vessel. He has been programmed and designed in such a fashion. And Moses, through the spirit and counsel of Yahweh, Bashmi Abishai, gave man over to his own devices. And really on a deeper level, it was until it was set like that so that Yahweh Shai can expound what marriage is truly about, and that man may truly understand the spirit of Yahweh Bashmi Abishai, and what it means to have a hard heart, and what it means to have the true teaching and grace of Yahweh Shai. Now, this is Ezekiel chapter 11 and verse 19. I'm going to start at 18. And they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you. And what? And I will take the stony heart out of their flesh, and I will give them an heart of flesh. So that's our stony heart, like those tables of stone that can easily be broken, that can easily shatter, right? That can easily be turned to rubble, right? That's what that stony heart represents. The heart of flesh is a spiritual heart, right? Bear with me. Okay, Salaki. So your heart of flesh is a spiritual heart that can absorb the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right, so let's actually go back to this. And when it says, but from the beginning, it was not so, our forefathers had a different spirit, right? In the elder world, it's the time of Adam, right? The elder world, on a somewhat on the level goes into Noah, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech. All of our forefathers, Seth, they didn't put away their wives for the same reason that men put away their wives during the time of Moses. Right? There's no account of Noah putting away his wife. There's no account of Adam putting away his wife. And Eve went off, man. Big time is another statement, man. Right? The Lord says, from the woman, it's the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. And Adam didn't put away his wife for that. Verse 19. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her which is put away doth commit adultery. That's plain. Right. So to the brother's question, no, you cannot put away your wife, right? If she's what they say, holding out. Oh, she just holding out on me. She says it's on lockdown. She got the key and I can't get the key. Dang. She hid the key somewhere. I don't know what to do. I'll just get me a concubine. Can't find the key. Right? She put it on the top of the refrigerator. That's madness, man. You can only put away your wife for fornication. Fornication is on multi-level. Fornication is sexual immorality. Fornication includes the following. It includes sodomy, right? And, that's men on men, woman on woman. So you can put away your wife if she's dealing with another woman. A lot of men in the world, oh, it's not that bad. Y'all caught my woman dealing with another woman. Y'all caught her kissing this chick at the club, and I kind of liked it. That's bugged out. Yeah, I got a girl that like girls. The Lord is not dealing with that spirit, man. That's fornication, right? If your woman is dealing with another woman, that's off. Put your wife away, man. That is not pleasing in the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Neither as it is in the eyes of a priest or a king, a man of the Lord, man. Another example of fornication is incest. All right, that you catch your wife, dealing with a relative, right? That's off. That kissing cousin spirit, man. Right? So, that's another form of fornication. Another form of fornication is straight up and down. You catch a woman with another man. That's adultery. Right? You catch your woman with another man. I don't care how she paint the picture. Oh, it's your fault. You never spent. I saw this woman that said, you never spent enough time with me. What was I supposed to do? That's what she said. You're always working. What did you expect me to do? You don't spend enough time with me. This is your fault. Right? So that's fornication. Right? Or if your woman lied down with a beast. Right? She lied down with a wild beast. That's also fornication. Those are the only reasons you can put away your wife. Not if she talked too much or she burnt the unleavened bread. And that's actual fornication. That's not spiritual fornication. Right? You didn't spiritually marry your wife. So you're not spiritually putting away your wife, man, for spiritual fornication. Oh, we're spiritually married. I spiritually went in unto her. I tapped into her mind. Right? That's some bugged out, black conscious garbage. Right? I spiritually put away my ribs, spiritually committed fornication. She was thinking about Caesar Borgias. Put her away for that. That's madness. That is also garbage. Spiritual fornication is the relationship between Yahweh Bashim Yahushua and the nation of Israel. Right? That is fueled by covetousness, lust, and idolatry. Right? Let's get that in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and 12. For the devising of idols is the beginning of spiritual fornication. Right? And in them, the corruption of life. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 12. Right? Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and 12. It reads, for the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. You see that? And that pertains unto men. Right? Violating the covenant that Yahweh has given them. So if you marry your wife and put her away for any other reason except what was previously said, and then you say, I'm just going to marry another, because a concubine it's still marriage, right? Because the question says what? Okay, should I just get a concubine? Okay, if you get a concubine, it's still marriage, right? Let's put that out there. Concubine is not a uh, just somebody to lay down with. We'll be nice tonight and just say that it's not just somebody to spend the night with or the pleasure that comes with sleep. Concubine is indeed a wife. Is she on the same level as your quote unquote main wife? No, right? But she's still a wife. Did not Abraham go into Hagar, and Hagar was his wife? But Hagar was a concubine. Hagar was not Abraham's main squeeze, for lack of better terms. That was his woman, right? But it wasn't on the same level as his other woman. All right. So let's actually go back to that. Let's pull this back up. Salakia. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except to be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery, and whoso marrieth her which is put away doth commit adultery. So you can't marry a woman that had 2 other husbands. She was put away for adultery, and you say, well, I'm gonna give her a second chance. I don't know what happened between them. I heard that she committed adultery, but she can't do that with me. I'm gonna give her an order. Right? She want to learn structure under me. Yeah, she committed fornication with 4 other men and 4 other congregations. But with me, I'm going to change her life. I'm going to save her and make her a holy, virtuous woman as she dwells under my shadow, and I teach her the covenant of God. Right? That's bugged out. Right? You cannot marry a woman that was put away for adultery. You can't save her. All right, I'm gonna turn her. She had 5 husbands, but I'm gonna turn her to Sarah. All right, you gotta she gotta work out her own salvation. Now, can she receive the kingdom? It's up to the Most High, right? It's up to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, to forgive her of those sins if He deems fit, and bring her into the kingdom. Now, if you say, well, look, yeah, she had 4 other camps. Okay, she was with HOY. Okay, then she lied and deceived them. Then she was with SOT. She lied and deceived them and committed adultery. Then she was with IUIC. Okay, she lied and deceived them. Then she was with, the Lions of Israel, and she was with this camp, and she was with that camp. Then she was with Sakari, and now she told me she was with all these camps. And she courted a few men. She laid down with a few of them, but she don't know why they kicked her out. That's her story. She's sticking to it. She courted a few guys. She laid down with a few, right? But she don't know why she's put out. And you say, well, look, I'll marry you and I'll turn you unto Susanna, right? So, brother, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, right? To say the least, right? Rude awakening, to say the least. So, HBK, is there a spiritual reason why we eat the Leviathan in the second wilderness? So I did a breakdown on the second wilderness for sake of time, right? If you want to go more into that second wilderness, check that video out, and we expound on just about or most parts of the second wilderness, right? Just for sake of time, right? For sake of time. Okay, Elijah Jones. Does Matthew 22:30 means there isn't going to be procreation in the kingdom? Yeah, there's going to be procreation in the kingdom. Right, there will be procreation. You will lay down with your woman in the kingdom. Right, there's nothing gross and unclean about that. Right, you have some individuals say, well, we're going to be holy, we're going to be perfect and upright, and we're going to have wings, and we're going to be like this, and we're going to be like that. We will never lay down with women anymore. That is well, if that's your mentality, your mind not right. Right, your mind not right. But we're going to be so holy, Naquam, right? We're going to have we're going to have spiritual bodies. We're going to be so righteous that we'll never lay down with a woman anymore, right? The laws are going to be in our inward parts. I can't fathom laying down with my woman anymore now that I'm perfect, right? Well, if that sounds maddening to me, man. Right? That sounds maddening, man. Where is that at in the scriptures where you're going to be automatically so righteous, so perfect, so godly, so holy, so pious, so just so fantastic, where you don't lay down with no woman anymore, and that's the end of your seed. Your seed stops there because you became righteous. Just think about this. Just think about what I'm not saying, brother, you're saying this, but think about that. I've heard this, man. I've heard that argument, right? I've heard that argument, man. You're going to be so perfect that you don't desire women anymore. Because that's essentially what you're saying. Since the laws are in your inward parts, you're not attracted to women anymore. Is that what we're saying? Right? Is that what we're saying? Say it ain't so, man. So no, in the kingdom, yeah, you're gonna be having your wife. And you're gonna have a nation. You're not gonna have just two children. Okay, I want one boy, okay, I want one girl. Okay, well, what we gonna call her? Well, I'm gonna call my that's gonna be Judith. Well, I want to call her Esther. Okay, well, okay, what about our son? Okay, well, he's gonna be Judah. Well, I don't want to name him Judah. Okay, I want to name him Joseph. Right? No, you're gonna have a whole nation. Right? Let's dive into this. Right? You will, and let's show you where this is actually coming from. Right? We want to pull a scripture that the brother went into. Right? We're going to pull this up. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 22 and verse 23. Now, again, these questions that were asked to Yahushua were not sincere at all. Right? Some questions Yahushua got during his ministry were sincere. Right? Some were indeed without God. But the others, like we went into Matthew, the 19th chapter, that was full of deceit and treachery. This is another one. The one where they asked him about paying taxes, right? The one where they asked him about stoning a woman in John, the 8th chapter. All those chapters are about deceit. And this is another question. Another deceitful question posed to our Lord and our King. St. Matthew 22 and 23. The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him. Now, the Sadducees were really an elite group of men, somewhat of an aristocracy of the Jews, who did not believe in spirits. They didn't believe in angels. They didn't even believe in demons. They were a carnal, elite men of the law who did not believe in the spiritual aspect of the law. Right now, let's actually go into this. I want to go to Acts 22nd chapter to show you who's actually asking this question. Right? These are scriptural breakdowns through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Right? This is the book of Acts. Right? I want chapter 23. That's what I want in verse 8. I'm going to start at 7. And when he had so said, there arose a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the multitude was divided. These are two parties, and I'll use that word, of the law with different characteristics. The Pharisees had their own traits. They were zealous of their nation. They were nationalists. You understand? They were a people who loved their nation, often hypocritical in their teaching and behavior and conduct. Masters of the law who believed in the spiritual realm, resurrection. They believed in angels, right? They believed in these things. The Sadducees were also another party, for lack of better terms, who strictly believed in the Torah, Genesis through Deuteronomy. They did not believe in spirits. They did not believe in angels. A lot of them had a league with the Romans. Some were with the Herodians. And these were, and they actually came out of the Hasmonean dynasty when you go deep into it. Hasmonean dynasty is the time of the Maccabees. Out of Simon's son, right? John Hyrcanus and a lot of those men, they offshooted, and that's where the Pharisees and Sadducees came from. Now, I want to pull that up, and that matters because the intention of that question is based off of their understanding, or for lack thereof, of the law and of the spiritual realm. So let's go into this word Sadducees first. Right, let's actually pull this up. So that Greek word for Sadducee, Sadducees, right? It reads the righteous. That ultimately, if I'm not mistaken, is Tazadak. It goes back to the Hebrew word Tazadak, but it says Sadducees, right? It's Tazadak in the Hebrew, which means righteous, or Ha-Tazadak, right? That would be the righteous, Ha-Tazadak. So it says a religious party at the time of Hamashiach among the Jews who denied that the oral law was a revelation of God to the Israelites, and who deemed the written law alone to be obligatory on the nation as divine authority. They denied the following doctrine. So they didn't believe in the oral law. Now they had the Mishnah, right? During the time of the Sadducees and Pharisees, there was something called the Mishnah. The Mishnah was the oral law written down, right? That was allegedly passed down from the time of Moses all the way down until the time of Yahushua, right? Let's pull up the Mishnah. Okay, you see that? So the Mishnah, right? So like, let me go back to this. It's the first major written collection of the Jewish. Now, we know when they say Jewish, it means the Israelites, right? The Torah, okay? The Torah, or your Tabarah, and a Hebrew, which means law or instruction, are your first 5 books of the Bible. All right, Genesis, right? Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. That was passed orally down, but it was written with a particular interpretation that came with it. That's your Mishnah. The Mishnah is the first major written collection of the Israelite oral traditions that are known as the oral Torah. So the Pharisees had a lot of oral traditions, such as the washing of the hands, right? Such as the Sabbath day's journey. All right. There were a lot of oral things in the law that were meticulously written in the Mishnah. The Sadducees didn't go by the Mishnah, they went by what was written in the text. So a lot of traditions of men that Yahushua got on the Pharisees for, they were often derived from the oral law that was passed down. That's why these things weren't in writing. Nowhere in the law does it say, okay, you have to wash your hands before you eat. That's in Matthew the 15th chapter and Mark the 7th chapter. But yet it was treated and regarded as a law. Right? Let's actually prove that real quick as we dive deep into these questions. All right, let's go into I believe that's Matthew the 15th. Matthew 7. So like it Matthew 15, right? Had it right the first time. So like in Matthew chapter 15. Okay, this is Matthew chapter 15 and 1. Then came to Yahushua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not with their hands when they eat bread. So they were getting to him for tradition. It wasn't written in the law, but these were things that they regarded as a law. These traditions, and it should tell you when you go into this definition, right? Paradoxes. Okay, check this out. Of the body of precepts, meaning law. This is what the word those traditions actually mean. That's why you have to go into the Hebrew, the Greek, the etymology, right? These are the scriptural breakdowns. Of the body of precepts, especially ritual, which in the opinion of the latter Jews were orally delivered by Moses and orally transmitted in unbroken succession to subsequent generations, which precepts, both illustrating and expanding the written law as they did, were to be obeyed with what? With equal reverence. You see that? So they said that these traditions, we're going to obey them as law. We believe, this was the Pharisees, that the law that Moses told orally, even though it's not written, our forefathers documented the breakdown of those laws. That's what they're saying. When Moses told the law and there were breakdowns that came with it, it was written down, inscribed out, and passed down generation after generation. So they said, we believe that this is also law. We'll regard this and reference it as a law. Yahweh got on them with a lot of those traditions that they had, because it wasn't law, they were traditions, right? And it put a spirit on them. This is something of the Pharisees. This tells you where their mind is at when it came to the teaching, when it came to their understanding of the law. They dealt with those traditions. The Sadducees, they denied that the oral law was a revelation to God or revelation of God to the Israelites. All right, let's read this again. A religious party at the time of Mashiach among the Jews who denied that the oral law was a revelation of the Most High to the Israelites, and who deemed the written law alone to be the obligatory on the nation as the divine authority. They denied, meaning the Sadducees, Hatazdakim, they denied the following doctrines. Here's what the Sadducees didn't believe: the resurrection of the body, immortality of the soul, the existence of spirits and angels, divine predestination, affirmed free will. Right? You see that? See that right there? So they didn't believe in the resurrection. Their minds were bad. Their minds were bad. They didn't believe that when the Lord came, men would rise. They didn't believe in the immortality of the soul, as if your soul would just vanish in the thin air, like it tells you in Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. They didn't believe in spirits. I mean, how do you deal with a brother that don't believe in spirits and angels? Tell the brother spirit hopped on you. He looked at you kind of bugged out, like, you mean a spirit hopped on you? Brother, you got spirits on you. I don't believe in that. You can't deal with a brother like that, man. The brother will have no discernment, no judgment. It'll be carnal. So that's why the Sadducees were off, man. They were off. That means you don't believe in a spiritual demon, Satan. You don't believe in a lust demon, right? You don't believe in these spirits. So these were doctrines back then, man. There was a lot going on. Like I said, you had the house of Heliel, you had the house of Shammai, you had the Sadducees, you had the Pharisees, you had a lot of different schools of thought, which reminds me of a lot of different congregations now, right? Because a lot of different camps, they have different schools of thoughts. About 99% of it is the same, that we're the Israelites, right? That the Lord is coming to deliver his people, and that these nations are going to be judged, and that we have to repent to keep the commandments. That's the main thing. But there are slight differences. Some brothers, like I said, they may believe in a lunar Sabbath. Some brothers believe that the mark of the beast is physical. Some brothers may believe that the full moon is a new moon. Some brothers may believe that Cornelius is Gentile. Some brothers may believe that hell is an actual place. Some brothers may believe that you can't say shalom. You don't have to wear fringes. Some brothers believe, at the Sabbath is Friday night to Saturday sundown. There's all types of different schools of thoughts. All right. But this Sadducee one, I don't know what Israelite congregation that will accept this. Just every cap I know believes in the resurrection, the immortality of the soul, spirits and angels. So who are these Sadducees back on earth? They would have to be more than likely Old Testament Israelites or some Christian somewhere in the world somewhere. Right? So let's go back to this. I actually want to jump down because there's more when we go into the Thayer's and Greek lexicon of this word Sadducee. And like I said, as we go into these definitions in this history, it gives you their mindset when it comes to asking Yahweh Shai particular questions. A Sadducee, a member of the party of the Sadducees, who distinguished from birth, wealth, and official position, and not averse to the favor of the Herod family and of the Romans. So they were in league with Esau. That's why their spirit wasn't right. And they were in league with the Herodians and league with the Romans. Right? The Herodians were Israelites who favored the so-called white man being in power. Right? Who said we have no king but Caesar. Okay, it says they hated the common people and were opponents of the Pharisees and rejecting tradition, acknowledged the authority of the Old Testament alone and matters pertaining to faith and morals. And they quote that from Josephus. They denied not only the resurrection of the body, that's where that question comes from, but also the immortality of the soul and future retribution. So they were bugged out. They denied future retribution. Right? Retribution is payback, with judgment coming with payback, vengeance. They denied the resurrection, spirits, and angels. All right. Now, let's actually go back to this question. Now we know the premise of this question in Matthew chapter 22. Right? This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 22. Verse 23. The same day came to him the Sadducees. So we covered them. That word Sadducees goes back to the Hebrew word ha-tazadaki, right? Or ha-tazadak, rather. Or ha-tazadakim, the righteous ones, or the righteous, self-righteous, right? Which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. And Moses did say that is the law, right? The law does say explicitly, if a man dies with no children, right? His brother, the nearest of kin, has to lay down with his wife and raise up seed of his brother unto his brother and put that brother's inheritance in line. All right, let's actually get that. Let's get that account. All right, we'll actually get that law right here in Matthew 22 and 24. Let's go into it. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 25. Right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 25 and verse 5. Let's see where the Sadducees got that from. Because they did know the law, but they didn't know the law, right? They didn't know that the law was spiritual. If brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. Well, let's read that again. If brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without to a stranger. And a stranger is circumstantial. Stranger is relative to the situation. This stranger is not talking about another nation. In a deeper sense it is, but it's really talking, this stranger is anybody that's not the brother's nearest of kin. Right? That's what the stranger is in this context. She can't marry, if she's from the tribe of Judah, her husband's from the tribe of Judah, she can't marry an Issacharite man. That would be a stranger. She can't marry a Benjamite man. That would be a stranger. She can't marry an Ephraimite. That would be a stranger. She has to marry a brother, her husband's closest brother or nearest of kin. Anything outside of that would be a stranger. Her husband's brother should go in unto her and take her to him to wife and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. And he got to do that, man. He can say, well, I don't find her attractive. She's not my type. Whatever. But guess what? He got to deal with it. If he loved his brother, and now you may say this is weird, right? Well, that's because you still have that Western mind, right? And you're still, eating Big Macs and Wendy's and chicken nuggets, right? And drinking orange soda, pop, we call it pop, right? And still going to church. That's why this is weird to you. But to the ancient men and the ancient woman, it's completely normal and understandable for a husband, for a brother to go into his brother's wife, man. Because think about it. Once that brother dies and there's no children, all of his land, cattle, oxen, slaves, right? Armory, his weapons, his tents, all of his possession, who is it going to go to? See, this is not the world. The world says, okay, well, when I die as a man, everything goes to my wife. That's not in the Bible. Make sure you got your wife on your so-and-so, because you die, who is it going to go to? Well, biblically, it's supposed to go to your son. It's not supposed to go to your woman. That's how things worked in the ancient world. A husband didn't pass down his inheritance to his wife. He passed it down to his son. And his son inherited his father's glory. His son inherited his father's land, his father's wealth, his father's cattle, oxen, sheep, asses, bullocks, slaves, vineyards, vine dressers, and plowmen. He inherited all of those things, right? It tells you even in the parable, it says, Father, give me my goods, my portion of goods that befalleth me, right? Let's get that. This is the book of St. Luke, chapter 15, right? And verse 11. And he said, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his what? His living. He didn't give it to his wife. He didn't give it to his nephew, the best man at the wedding. His living, he gave it to his son, right? That's how it goes, man. Let's go to Genesis chapter 25. Let's get an account with another of our forefathers, Abraham. Genesis chapter 25 and verse 5. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. Where does it say he gave all that he had unto Keturah? Right? Because remember, Sarah already passed at this time. Oh, okay. Abraham gave all that he had to Nahor, to Lot. See, this world is different, right? You got these prenups and these prenuptials or prenups and marriages where a wife get half of. You got this woman, she's taking all the this guy, man, it's this MMA fighter. Now his woman said that, look, since he didn't spend enough time with me, I have the right to take all of his wealth. Right? He's that, if you know what I'm talking about, he's that MMA fighter, UFC fighter who does the showboating and the the karate and all of that. I believe he's a Jake. I could be wrong. But he got this Edomite woman, and that's partially his fault for dealing with that white woman who's looking to take his inheritance. It happened to Dr. Dre. It happens to everybody. That's what this is, the maternal society. Your marriages now are in holy matrimony. Right? What does holy matrimony mean? It's pretty much women worship. That's what matrimony means. That goes with the word mater. But they paint it as if it's some lovely, godly, holy thing. Matrimony, the married state relation of the husband and wife, wedlock, sacrament of marriage, matrimony, marriage, wedlock, marriage, from matrim, mater, like you may go to a University of Pennsylvania. That's your alma mater, right? Our mother, right? It means mother, right? Do you agree to take this woman in holy matrimony, right? It's not, it's those weddings are all about the woman. They're all about the woman. All right. Now, when you go back into this, Abraham gave all that he had, not to a woman, he gave it all unto Isaac. Remember, Abraham had an army, 318 trained servants born in his own house. He gave that unto Isaac. Abraham had exceeding great cattle and land, so much that him and Lot could not dwell together. He said, my brother, separate from me. Let there be no strife between me and thee, for we be brethren. Paraphrasing. All of that wealth that he had, he gave it to Isaac. But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he had lived eastward into the east country. And he sent them away so they didn't fight and try to go to war with one another, right? Rehoboam did the same thing. David didn't. Now, the point is, Abraham gave all that he had to his son. Now, if Abraham didn't have a son, if he didn't have no children, all of that he had, who would it go to? It would just vanish in thin air. It would go to his daughters, or it would go to his uncle. It would go to somebody, but it should go back to his seed, his son. So what the husband's brother job is to do, his job is to put a seed in his woman. Why is the husband's brother selected? Because in the spiritual world, they're the closest, right? They're the closest in the spirit world. A man and his brother are closer than a man and his uncle, or a man and his nephew, or a man and his cousin. So that man and his brother are so close in the spiritual world that once he impregnates his wife, by default, that seed that comes back on the earth is going to come back, or that man that died is going to come back to his brother. That's how regeneration works. He's going to come back in his brother, and all of that land that he died with, he's going to get it back in generations to come. That's why it's so serious for a husband's brother to lay down with his wife if their husbands died without any children. That's why the Lord killed Judah's sons. He killed and he killed Onan, because they refused to understand true brotherly love. They refused to bring that seed back on the earth, right? They refused to exemplify loving your brother as you love yourself, man. Right? Let's get that in Genesis. Right? This is the book of Genesis, chapter 38 and verse 3. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name So that's Judah's son. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onan. And she is Judah's wife, and she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Chezib when she bare him. And Judah took a wife. So fathers picked out the wives back then. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of Yahweh, and Yahweh by Shemyahushai slew him. And here's the point. And Judah said unto Onan, go in unto thy brother's wife and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. Because Judah knew the law. They were taught the law by their father Israel, Jacob, formerly. He said, fulfill that law. Bring back on the earth. Had an inheritance. He had land. He has to get that back. If you go into your wife, that child that you have, even though it comes from you, it's going to go straight to that seed. See that? And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. Meaning what? He knew that if he impregnated his brother's wife, all of Onan's inheritance will have to be transferred to I'm going to say that again. Onan knew that, hold on. Let me think about this. If I go into my brother's wife and she gets pregnant, all of the wealth that I have, and it's supposed to go to my son, right? It's going to go to I don't want to do that. I don't want to give my inheritance to I don't love my brother that much. That's what it means that Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass when he went into his brother's wife that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed unto his brother. And this was wicked, right? He knew that he wasn't going to give that inheritance to that seed, but he said, I'm going to just lay down with my brother's wife anyway. I'm going to just pop her. And then when it's time for me to actually give my seed unto her, I'm going to just spill it on the ground. You know that this thing is so wicked. There's actually been a word named after Onan. It's called Onanism. Right? Let's actually pull that up. Onanism. Okay. Okay, well, hold on. We don't have to get too deep into that. Basically, Onanism, right? When you look it up, it's what Onan did. All right. It's what Onan did. We'll just put it like, if you want to look more into it, hey, look, it's what Onan did. We'll just leave it at that. All right. It's called Onanism. So, and the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. So there's a deep meaning behind raising up seed to your brother. So let's go back to Matthew, the 22nd chapter. All right. St. Matthew chapter 22 and verse 24. Here's what the Sadducees asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were with us 7 brethren, and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother. And this never happened. This is a hypothetical trick question, right? But you can't trick our Lord, man. Likewise, the second also, and the third into the 7th. And last of all, the woman died also. So all these men lay with this woman, one after the other, but they never had up seed. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her. And they thought they had the Lord. And they said, well, hold on. Right? If all of them had her in the resurrection, who's going to be the wife? Who is the wife going to be bound to? Yahushua answered and said unto them, Ye do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of the Most High. Because they didn't believe in the Most High's ability to create angels. They didn't believe, that's what this means, know the power of the Most High. He knew their doctrine. Right? They didn't believe in Satan. They didn't believe in raising from the dead. They didn't believe in none of that. They didn't know the power of the Most High. And they didn't believe in the scriptures. Because they only believed in the first 5 books. Right? For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God in heaven. So what it means when it says they neither marry nor are given in marriage, you have to keep it in that proper context. The proper context is if a brother dies, another brother has to raise up seed to his wife. In the kingdom of heaven, that marriage isn't going to happen. A wife is not going to be given in marriage to a brother because that brother's his brother's not going to die. That's what this means. They're neither married nor given in marriage. It's talking about the marriage of Deuteronomy 25, what they call a Levirate marriage. That marriage isn't going to happen. Why? Because men aren't going to die. A wife is not going to be given in marriage to a man whose brother died because that brother's not going to die. They're not going to marry. That man's not going to marry that woman. Because they're going to be immortal. That's what it means, but are as the angels of God in heaven. It doesn't mean you're not going to lay down with a woman anymore. Yahushua kept it in its proper context, as we all should. Right? And he even goes more. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have ye not read that which was spoken unto you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. The Most High is not the God of the dead, but of the living. So the Most High in the resurrection, he's not dealing with the dead. Right? He's not the God of the dead, he's the God of the living. For in Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai, all live. Right? So they're speaking about let's go back to this. And last of all, the woman died also, and who's going to have her? Yahushua said, look, he's not worried about the dead. He's the God of the living. And that death is not going to transpire in the kingdom because you're going to be like the angels of God in heaven. So yes, you're going to be able to lay with your woman. Right? Again, there's no account where it says man is going to be so perfect, but he's not attracted to women anymore. He's so perfect that, he's just wants to be around the brothers all day. and his woman. No, right? How can you be so righteous when you don't desire your woman anymore? Right? Let's pull this up. Isaiah chapter 60 and 21. 22. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in its time. So in the kingdom, a little one shall become 1,000. You're going to go from one man, just you. Yeah, you. But in the kingdom, it's going to be 1,000 of you. And you're not going to have, it's not talking about doppelgangers and clones. Okay, I'm going to clone myself. Okay, one of me, I clone myself to 1,000 of me. Right? While my woman sat at home. No, man, you're going to become 1,000 by laying down with many women. All right. And then your sons are going to lay down with many women. And then those sons are going to lay down with many women. You're going to have children after children. And then you're all going to be a nation. That's why the Lord said that the actual prophecy, let's get the actual prophecy in Genesis chapter 35. Genesis chapter 35 and verse 10. And the Most High said unto him, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called this name Israel. And the Most High said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation, right? That's the nation of Israel. And check this out. And a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And this is ultimately going to be fulfilled in the kingdom. Because the Lord said a little one Israelite, is going to become a strong nation. So you're going to have companies of nations. You're going to be a nation. The next brother is going to be a nation. Then that brother is going to be a nation. So we have 18 nations right now, but there's going to be damn near an indefinite amount of nations on the earth. Of course, ultimately going back to Israel, but it's going to be the nation of you, whatever your name is. If your name is brother Kazakh, right? It's going to be the Kazakites, right? Oh, that he's a Kazakite, right? Okay, that brother. Okay, Naquam. Okay, Lord willing. Okay, he made it. Those are the Naquamites. Okay, that brother. Okay, his name is Amos. Those are the Imwasites, right? And just naming brothers, man, right? Okay, Yaradon, the Yaradonites. So these are these different nations. Okay, I'm traveling. Man, I met this Yaradonite, man. Well, who was it? Okay, he came from the company of Yaradon. So that's how it's going to be in the kingdom. It's going to be a company of nations. So yeah, you're going to be laying down with your woman, right? To say the least. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 36. Right? The Most High says 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us to be called by thy name to take away our reproach, paraphrasing. Ezekiel 36 and 10. And I will multiply men upon you, all the house of Israel, even all of it, and the city shall be inhabited, and the waste shall be builded. So the Most High is going to multiply men, right? And I will multiply upon you man and beast, and they shall increase and bring fruit. And I will settle you after your old estates, and will do better unto you than at your beginnings, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So the Lord is going to multiply our seed and our cattle. Let's get another one on that. Let's get one more in this question. Genesis chapter 24 and verse 60. Here's the prophecy. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed, that's the seed that's inside of her, possess the gate of those which hate them. Right? So Rebekah is the mother of thousands of millions. What's 1,000 times a million? Okay, 1,000 times 1 million. Okay, 1,000 times 1 million is 1 billion. All right, it's right here. 1 billion. All right, 1,000. Let's do it again. 1,000 times 1 million. See that? right? And now they're saying a millard. I never heard of a millard, right? So 1,000 times a million, right, is 1 billion. All right, 1 billion. So there's billions. Rebecca would be the mother of billions of Israelites, right? Billions. So we're going to multiply and multiply. There's going to be billions and billions and billions, maybe even trillions, right? Otherwise, the prophecy will be null and void. Right. So let's deal with Matthew chapter 24 and 12. Also, what does Matthew 24 and 12 mean? All right, let's deal with it. All right, let's deal with it. Matthew chapter 24 and 12. It reads, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So that's speaking about the animosity, hatred, and variance between flesh is going to increase as sins increases. Iniquity is sin. So sin is really played out by men harboring demons. So there's going to be a lot more demons on the earth, a great influx and invasion of demons from the third heaven. It's going to cause men to sin, cause men to murder, right? I saw this video. This man, he allegedly he killed his son, man, made him take a cold shower and died. This woman, she ate her children, right? There's a lot of things that you're just seeing and you're like, man, I can't even believe that that's real. This Eve ate her own children, man. I'm not going to pull it up. You know, they may do something to the channel. Man, you can look this stuff up. Yeah, men, you know, you got all types of bugged out stuff happening, man. And you're like, man, I can't even believe this. How could this happen? You got men dressing up like little girls saying, yeah, I'm a 6-year-old girl for the day. I'll go in the same store as your 6-year-old daughter because I feel like I'm a little girl. So there's a lot of iniquity. And as iniquity abounds and increases, natural love of the law is going to wax cold. Natural affection, right? Being amiable, friendly. Because when you're friendly, you're in a good spirit, right? The Lord said that a man shall be known by his countenance, greatly paraphrasing. A man's look, excessive laughter, and gait show what he is in his countenance. So when you meet somebody smiling or friendly, you know that they're in good spirits, right? Then then you have people that are cold-hearted, right? Those people that are cold-hearted have demons, right? They have anger demons, murder on their mind demons, right? Spirits of grudges, spirits of hatred. And that's how the earth is. The earth is full of darkness and just outright evil, man. You have somebody getting molested in the alley and nobody say nothing. Everybody take their phone out and start recording it, man. Right? You'll have somebody committing suicide and people take their phone out and record it. Somebody may even make a joke, jump, 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 and everybody in the crowd will start laughing. See, the world is sick now. Things that are not supposed to be funny are funny. Right? Things that were normal and cordial and courtesy and nice and chivalry, those things are all dead. And people actually boast. I know, Jake, they boast about being cold-hearted. Well, I'm cold-hearted. That was a thing at one time, huh? You know, I don't care about nobody but myself. I'm cold-hearted. It is what it is. Right, let me see if I can pull it up. That was an actual thing. Right? Jake was actually boasting into that. See that? Unfeeling, unloving. Now, they had that when I was growing up. That was a big thing for Jake in Detroit, man. Well, I'm cold-hearted. And Jake had it. And they was boasting of how they would, dog women out. And I'm cold. I don't care. I do this to a woman. I kill my brother. I'll do this. It is what it is. Well, that's demonic. Unfeeling, unloving are synonyms. Uncaring, unsympathetic, unemotional, unfriendly, uncharitable, unkind, insensitive, indifferent, detached, hard-hearted, stony-hearted. Right? These are biblical terms. Harsh, austere, cold, with a heart of a stone. All right? And there are brothers like that, man. Don't fulfill that prophecy. Love your neighbor. All right? And you'll see that spirit increase as sins increases on the earth. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, right? Chapter 5 and 1. And I want to get another precept in Ecclesiasticus. All right, 2nd Ezra, chapter 5 and 1. It reads, now as concerning the tokens, behold, the days shall come, that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. But iniquity shall be increased. That's the same thing that Yahweh Shah said, iniquity shall abound, and the love of many shall wax cold. But iniquity shall be increased, meaning sin, right? And now we're waiting to see what they're going to do next. I mean, they already legalized man with boy, right? Or they're working on it. You have NAMBLA, the National Association for Man-Boy Love. That's a thing now. I mean, I was talking to an elder. We're trying to figure out what are they going to come up with next, man? Just when you think Esau has capped out on wickedness, he one-ups himself, man. He just continually tops himself, and everything you see now is like, damn, there's no way this world can get any more wicked. Well, not according to the Most High. He said this thing will continually be more wicked. But iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. Right? So that's what this means. Iniquity shall abound, and the love of many shall wax cold. Right? Let's go to 2 Timothy 3 and 1. All right, let's put it back in here. 2 Timothy. And I want to get a precept in Ecclesiasticus as well. Right, about a cheerful countenance. Let me actually just pull that up real quick. Right, I believe that's Ecclesiasticus 36. Bear with me. Let me see if I can find this precept I want. All right, bear with me. Here it is, Salaki, Ecclesiasticus 13 and 26. A cheerful countenance is a token of a heart that is in prosperity, and the finding out of parables is a wearisome labor of the mind. So a cheerful countenance is a token of a heart that is in good prosperity. And the days are coming, you're not going to see that cheerful countenance. We brought up those definitions of unsympathetic, unfeeling, unemotional, detached, cold-hearted. Don't touch me. I don't hug. That's gay. I don't hug no man. Get off of me, woman. 6 feet apart, distance. Somebody open the door. Nobody says thank you anymore. People are cutting people off on the road, killing people, eating people. And the earth is off, man. Right? 2 Timothy 3 and 1. This know also that in the last days, perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. These are all the spirits that are going to be prevalent on the earth. Here's what we want. Without natural affection. These are signs of the last days. Truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent. People are going to be fierce. Despisers of those that are good. Traitors, heady, high-minded. Lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. So that's what that means in Matthew chapter 24 and 12, right? That these spirits are going to be back on the earth, committing all manner of lewdness and separating the love of neighbors, because that's one of the beautiful things in the image and glory of Yahweh Bashmi Awashad. It tells you that in Sirach, the 25th chapter, and 3 things I was beautified, that stood up both beautiful before God and men, paraphrasing. The unity of brethren the love of neighbors, and a man and a wife that agree together. So that's the true image and glory of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua. And these demons are sent to tarnish that image and break those unities apart by sending spirits of discord, spirits of fierceness, spirits of without natural affection, spirits of waxing cold towards your neighbor. That's the opposite way, or the opposite balance on the scale of emotional feelings that you're supposed to have towards your neighbor, right? So those spirits are going to run rampant on the earth to break apart the true image and glory of what Yahweh Bashem Rashad wants out of man. And that's why you're going to have those spirits to let you know it's a sign closer to the spiritual demon Satan and it's a demonic world that we dwell in. All right, so we'll do it the next question. Salt of the earth. St. Mark chapter 7, verses 18 through 20. Can you focus on the verse 19? Some people argue that a portion of the verse was added by translators, so it's confusing. So I haven't heard that one, right? But let's actually dive into it, right? Let's do some an inquisition. Mark chapter 7 and 18. And he saith unto them, are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entering, let me make sure this is what the brother wanted. Okay, 18 through 20. Okay, come. That whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him. But it entereth not into his heart, but into his belly, and goeth out into the drought, purging all meats. And he said, that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. So this goes back into Matthew the 15th chapter about the self-righteous Pharisees, in fact, hypocritical Pharisees, who took the oral law and held it with equal reverence as the written law. And one of those traditions of the oral law was to wash your hands before you ate bread and purify your body before you ate things. They charged Yahushua almost with a sin, right? And said, you're transgressing the tradition of the elders. You eat without unwashing hands. Yahushua proceeds to rebuttal and says, hold on, unwashing hands can't defile your spirit. Because that's how they looked at it. They didn't look at it like you're going to get sick. They say, look, if you eat with unwashed hands, you're going to have demons on you. Yahushua said, look, if I wash my hands or if I don't wash my hands, that's not what matters. Because when I touch that meat, eat that food, it goes to my body and it goes into my stomach and it goes into the drought and it purges out all the meats, right? There's nothing deep about that. Washing your hands. That's what he's telling them. And he said, that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. So it's not what goes into you that defiles you. And it's speaking about to washing your hands, not talking about pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, right? That which cometh out of a man, that defiles the man. And what comes out of man? For from within, this what comes out of you. Out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these things, all these evil things come from within and defile the man. So you can be more defiled than you actually think. You took 10,000 showers, but you're thinking about this other man's wife. You wash yourself and put on a frankincense and myrrh and comb your beard out and put oils in it, but you're really thinking about murder, right? And covetousness. So you're actually defiled. In terms of a verse being added, I haven't heard of that, brother. So that's the understanding of that verse, right? So let's move on. Right. Okay, Juan Figueroa. My question is Ezekiel chapter 8 and 3. When it speaks about lots, it uses the same word for fringe as it does in the Numbers 15 and 38. So did Ezekiel locks resemble zits? Let's see. Let's verify, right? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 8. Right, Ezekiel chapter 8 and 3. Right, French tassel lock. Yeah, so I would say so. Right, I would say so. Right, I would say so. Trying to roll through these. All right, well, with that, I'm going to close up. Giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach Kwam Shai. Right, scriptural breakdowns. I'll try to do these and kind of go in depth on each verse. May do Q&A with them, may just go into particular chapters and go into deep into the history, you know, the breakdown of words, dates, timelines, and really go dive into these living waters with these scriptural breakdowns and give the sense through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Shai. Most High willing you were edified. But again, with that, Yahweh by Shema Kwam Shai from Yeshua. Shalom.